All-star uniforms, sticky substances, major leaguers' use of analytics, and facing his childhood hero. Former major leaguer Jerry Blevins talks about these topics and more next on Beat the Shift. Welcome to another episode of the Beat the Shift podcast. I am your host, Ariel Cohen, and with me as always, Ruvain Guy. How are you, Ruvain?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and we are thrilled to have on our show. Our next guest has 30 career wins in the major leagues with 7 saves, a career ERA of 3.54, 508 strikeouts, and 495 innings pitched. And since this is the Fangraph show, he gave up just a 4% barrel rate over his career, 13 seasons with Oakland, Washington, the Mets, and the Atlanta Braves. And he does the Say Anything podcast presented by SNY. Welcome to the show, Jerry Blevins.
Man, thanks for that intro. I learn something new every time I talk to Fangraphs. It's like 4% barrel rate. That's pretty good. As a guy in the bullpen, missing barrels is legitimately the number one thing that you try to do, and 4%, I think that's pretty successful.
Exactly. Spot on with that analysis there. No, that's a fantastic number, and do that. And before we talk about the rest of our show, just personal. What are you doing these days? Life after baseball.
Yeah, you mentioned the Say Anything podcast. That's fun that I get to host with Doug Williams on the SNY feed. We just, I think today, so the day of recording, we just published the episode we did with John Hurwitz, who's a huge Mets fan. He's also the co-creator of Cobra Kai. He also co-created and wrote Harold and Kumar, directed American Reunion from the American Pie series. So that was really fun, man. I'm just enjoying my post-playing career. I really enjoy doing podcasts and some TV work, and basically I'm loving being home, being a dad, being a father, being a husband, and neglecting all the people that really supported me through my career and the crazy life that is baseball, and I have to shut it off. And now that I'm done, I'm annoyingly present for all these things that people are used to not being around. So it's nice. I'm just enjoying life, a slower pace, and just enjoying it every day.
That sounds fantastic, and great that you're still doing stuff around the game as well. We had the All-Star game this week, and maybe I could just get your quick reactions to the Home Run Derby, Shohei Ohtani, the Celebrity Game, which was kind of crazy, and maybe talk a little bit about the uniforms, whether you like them or not.
I'll start with the uniforms. That's an easy, I really wanted to like them because I like things new. I like trying new things. I like the alternate jerseys getting mixed in. The Mets are going back to black, which now that I'm out of it, I'm not a big fan of personally, because as I was playing, I was like, you guys can't have a throwback to a jersey that was around when I was still playing. Like that doesn't it didn't cover it. But I like the mixing it up. So the uniforms were okay. They looked like batting practice jerseys, but I guess I really missed, and I understand it from the fans' perspective, just having the players represent the team on a bigger level. Like having the guys wear their uniforms on the field is really cool. They all wear their home whites or their road grays, depending. So I thought the jerseys were really cool, but I think they should have went back to traditional for the actual game themselves. Yeah. What did you guys enjoy them?
No,
I did not like it. No, I did not like the jerseys. I actually hated them. Even the hats, I didn't even like. I liked it more, a little bit more traditional. And a lot of the players looked weird in them. It just didn't look right. It looked like, I don't know if you remember this, but the Mets a long time ago had these Jump to the Future jerseys where they were called the Mercury Mets. Those jerseys were hideous, and the All-Star, I think it was the home All-Star jerseys looked similar to that. It was just one bland color, and you need something more. You need back to the way they dress when they're playing, because that's how they got there.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the Mercury Mets uniforms until I saw on Twitter some people comparing him, and I looked him up and I was like, oh man, I'm really happy I didn't have to wear those jerseys as a player. We had
I actually went to one of those games. I went to one of those games. They were playing the Pirates at the time. It was just so bad. It was really bad.
That's a bad look. So yeah, I think it was pretty universally disliked. I like that Nike kind of tries things. Baseball's such a traditional sport, and we move at a slower pace when it comes to evolving. And Nike's really pushing the envelope, and they're going to get some things wrong. And they're gonna bounce back for it. Hopefully they learn. But I appreciate, being progressive, trying to find new things and push the envelope. But this was definitely a swing and a miss. And hopefully they just do it for like a BP and then go back to the game traditional style.
We had on last night on the show Howard Johnson, and it came up that he wore number 20, right, and so did Pete Alonso. And during the Home Run Derby, in tribute to Hank Aaron, Pete Alonso wore number 44. Amazingly, right after they traded Darryl Strawberry as a protest, Howard Johnson very temporarily switched his jersey number from 20 to 44. That was that blew our minds yesterday.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's what a random like tribute, like I guess an unintentional tribute to Howard Johnson, who's a great baseball player in his own right.
Yeah. Before we talk a little bit more about baseball in 2021, it's time for our Injury Gurus Trivia of the Week.
Now, every week we usually have a trivia question based on what we're talking about. We're talking with you, Jerry. So this trivia question is actually geared exactly to you. You played with Oakland.
That's a lot of pressure.
A little bit. I'm sure you'll get this answer. I'm pretty sure. You played with the Oakland A's. You played with the Washington Nationals. You played with the Mets, obviously, and 1 year with the Braves. There were 4 left-handed hitters that you faced the most in your career. Who were they?
Yeah, I should get this one. So
yes.
Let's go number 1. Actually, it might have been, I think he might be number 2 now. So Freddie Freeman is one of them.
Correct.
Unfortunately for me, great for Braves fans that we face each other that much. That guy.
Yeah, he was 12 for 25 off of you with a homer.
Yeah, I remember all of them very vividly.
Yeah.
The number 2, I think would be Ichiro.
Ichiro was number 2. You did okay against him.
I did okay. Definitely took advantage of him later in his career. Because when I was in Oakland, he was in Seattle. Like, even when I do my job and get him to ground out to second base, he would beat it out like the guy's an animal. Nick Markakis, number 3?
Number 1. You faced him 29 times.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, Nick. I feel like I did pretty well against him.
You did. He was 5 for 29. You did very well against him.
So he could definitely kick my butt, so I won't say that too loud. And then number 4, who would...
Can I guess one?
Yeah, please.
I'm going to guess Bryce Harper.
I was going to say Bryce Harper, but he was in my division. We played on the same team.
No?
Bryce Harper
I think
is
I'm going to stick
4.
with you.
It
is Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's number 4. He actually hunted twice against you, but it was only 4 for 20. Now, you face these lefties so often. How do you first of all, how do you prepare to face them if you're facing them so many times? And how do these new rules where you have to face 3 batters, the extra inning rule and the 7-inning doubleheader, how do all these new rules play into the way baseball is played now, and what do you think of them?
Yeah, so that's about 3 really heavy questions for me.
Yeah.
The approach is very different. So I face these guys so much. Most of the time the game's on the line, right? So each hitter's different. So a guy like Freddie Freeman and even Ichiro too. Freddie's a lot more like Ichiro than he is like Bryce Harper. Those type of hitters that are just really good bat to ball guys are the ones that I really, really had to like prepare for. The guys like Bryce Harper, when Bryce is on, it's a different story. There's not much you can do to get him out. But guys that just want to hit the ball 500 feet are the ones that I could really take advantage of. I know if I execute my pitches that I'm going to get those type of guys out. And if I miss, they're going to hit a home run. It's the Freddie Freemans, the Ichiros, the contact guys, like even the Jeff McNeils of the world, the guys that put the ball in play wherever it's pitched. that I can't really take advantage of something that they do poorly is a lot more cat and mouse, which is what I love. So a lot of it, prep work would be, what are they doing lately? How are they doing? And then mid at bat reads, were they leaning out? Were they late on that fastball? Those types of things. So it's a lot of it's prep work, and then a lot of it, I think where I excelled the most was like in-game management, in between pitches, reading, that kind of situation. So I guess that's the first part. What was the second question?
But before you get to that, by the way, John Franco told me the exact same thing as you, by the way, where he could get those big Barry Bonds, no problem with. Guys are going for but the scrummy little guys who have contact, that's who he struggled to get out, and that's where he had to prepare more and think more each pitch.
I got a good chance to pick John Franco's brain. He was a much better pitcher than I was, but anytime you can, like, anytime I ask him a question, it's a guy that's as accomplished as he was, and we have a similar line of thought, that's when you're like, yeah, I'm on the right track with something.
Right.
So good. Yeah.
Right.
And nowadays they have the 3-batter rule. How do you think you would have fared with that? Because I mean, the age of the loogie, the left-handed specialist, is sort of out the window because you got to get both lefties and righties out.
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually think that the loogie, my role, was on its way out anyway because of the way teams were managing their bullpens. I think that was going out the door. There's just so much heavy talent in the game that guys just have such good stuff now, and they're able to develop it quicker, that they're just rolling guys out there that can get their, like, great slider guys. Their slider plays left against lefties and righties. I think it was a rule that would have, if you wanted to put it in, you should have put it in 10 years ago. But I'm not a fan of it, not because it attacked me personally. I'm not a fan of it because I think it takes away a strategy from a manager, just another chess piece that he can move around. I like strategy in a game, and I know the DH is on its way out eventually. No matter what's happening, I think it's pretty inevitable that the DH is going to make its way into the National League too. So you're gonna take away managers' ability to affect the game as it's going on, and I thought that rule was kind of just change for change's sake, and the game was evolving to eliminate it anyway. So that's how I feel about the 3-batter minimum rule.
And the extra inning rule, where if you started, let's say, you started the 10th inning, you automatically get a runner starting at second base. Would you approach the inning any differently? Or, I mean, I know you come into games a lot of time. You used to come into games in the middle of an inning, so I mean, it shouldn't really phase you that much. But how would you approach that differently?
Yeah, it wouldn't affect me because, like I said, or like you mentioned, that was my job. Runners in scoring position was most of the time when I came into the game. I don't like that rule because they didn't earn their way there. I am one of the very few, and I spoke this up at one of our executive board meetings at our union, where we kind of feel like you put it out there for our union and guys speak their minds and say what they want. I'm for, if we're trying to speed this up, I'm for having ties. And in baseball, that is that is blasphemy to a lot of people to say that you would rather have a tie. But I think, if you go 11 innings and you haven't come up with a score, or the other team hasn't taken advantage, I don't think you should just stick somebody at second base and then let it play out that way, because that's not baseball to me. Nobody earned that. If you get a broken bat to jam them, moves them over, and then you get another broken bat, that's a run and a loss. Like, I would rather tie a game than lose without earning a loss. So that's just how I felt. So I'm definitely in the minority. How do you guys feel about ties?
I mean, first of all, I think Steve Cohen should suggest that we do a home run derby after the 12th inning. We got the best home run guy on our team, so you might as well suggest that.
That's the truth.
I mean, I don't have a problem with ties. I think ties in hockey used to be fine. I don't know why you have to have a shootout. You have to have a winner. You have to do it quickly. I'm fine with. To be honest with you, I'm fine with the way it was. Like, I remember watching games, and oh my God, it's the 14th inning, and you're glued to the TV, and it's 2:00 in the morning on a West Coast game, and I remember watching games. It's part of the fun. You never know what's going to happen. So,
and the All-Star game ended in a tie also one year. I mean, I felt a little I don't know what I felt after that. It was just very odd to see a game and then a time just everyone just walk off the field. It just didn't seem right.
See,